Hey everybody, my name's George. I'm one of the athletic trainers on campus at Penn State Altoona, and I'm making a little instructional video here to help you set up some basic fishing rigs. Through my experience, and I've fished all over the country and in several countries around the world, basic and simple works better. If you talk to professional guides, commercial fishermen, local people who live a subsistence style of living and live off the land and fish to provide food for their families, those people have kind of the same criteria. One, that they require few materials to make a rig or set up a rig. They are easy to tie, and they're effective and they catch fish. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a loop, right? And I want the loop to be probably about as long, so it fits 2 fists, right? Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and I'm going to take this loop and I'm just going to make now you see how the lines cross here. Okay, but all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a series of overhand knots. I'm going to make 3 overhand knots at a minimum, because that gives me the best strength of the knot. So there's 1. So now that I've made 3 turns, I'm just going to draw this, and this knot is called a surgeon's loop. So I'm going to draw it snug like that, right? But I'm not going to tighten it all the way down. At this point, you want to moisten the knot. Now you can do that by dunking it in the water, put it in your mouth. Just real quick, a little bit of saliva. Pair of needle nose pliers, right? It goes in like that. And you want this to be long enough so that you can at least get a wrap or get a good grip on it, because you want to pull the knot, all 4 strands, right? So we got the loop here making 2 strands, and then these 2 strands. You want to pull them all at the same time to really snug this knot down properly. And there you see it makes a nice barrel type knot, okay? So now what we're going to do is cut off, this is referred to as the standing end, the part going back to my rod and reel. And then this little guy is the tag end. So we're going to cut that tag end off. So now I've made a loop. So you say, well, that's great, but you can't fish with that. So normally, right, we can attach now a leader. So let's say if I'm fishing, if this is say 10 or 12 pound test line, and I'm going down to something smaller like 6 pound or 4 pound test. All I would do is take the smaller diameter line and do the same thing, which I've already done. I made it the same surgeon's loop. Notice though that I did leave the tag end. More on that again here in a second. To join these 2, again, simple and easy, it's a loop-to-loop connection. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the main line going to my rod and reel, pass it through, and then take both of these strands and go through. Voila, like that. Snug it down. And again, you can moisten it, right? Snug it down. Now the nice thing about this is as it gets shorter, if I'm changing bait, hook, lure, whatever, when I get all the way down and I'm like, wow, that's too short, now all we got to do is just you pull it off and then loop to loop. That's why I like loops so much, because they're very easy to work with, even if it's cold outside, right? Doesn't require as much dexterity to undo these loop-to-loop connections. So now we want to attach our hook, fly, lure, whatever. So I'm going to take, in this case I'm using a fly to demonstrate, but it could be anything. It could be a bait hook, it could be a lure, whatever. I'm going to take my line from my leader, my smaller diameter. I'm going to go through the top. Okay, from top to bottom. So again, we've made another loop. And now the tag end is on top of the standing end, right? And now I'm just going to wrap away from me. And then just come back through. And this is called a clinch knot. There's a version of this that you'll see called the improved clinch. Don't have to do that if you don't want to. You don't have to improve it. I don't. Again, wet the fly or wet the knot. And there you go. And then we just clip this little tag end off, obviously. So I've gone from my main line to a leader, to a hook or a lure or a fly or whatever, bait, whatever I'm fishing with. Now, you'll notice that I left this tag end in my leader on. So what you can do here is make the same surgeon's knot, only you're not making a loop. You're going to just take the single strand and we'll go around So I've made that surgeon's knot. Clip off the little end. Now what I've done, right, is I've given myself a place to attach a weight. So here's a split shot, a simple split shot that you can get from Walmart. Okay. And now I can, and again, this is super sized, but I'm just doing it so you can, to demonstrate. So you apply that split shot, right? You just put the line right in there. And then we just crimp it down. So now you've added a weight, right? So now the weight's going to be at the bottom. Your lure, so this would say if you're fishing on or near the bottom, right? The nice thing about this is if this gets snagged, you've used your lighter line, this will break free and you save your lure, your fly, your bait, your hook, whatever. And then all you're out is that little piece of split shot and some line. If you were doing the opposite and you were using, say, like a float or a bobber, then obviously, you know, you would have, when you tied this, you would have removed that tag. So then it would just be, there would be no tag. So if I was fishing closer to the surface, and now just come above to our main line, and attach a float, right? And now you're fishing closer to the surface. So it all really depends on where you're fishing, what the water's like, what you're doing. In my next video, we'll go over some different rigs using these knots, but I just wanted to kind of give you the basic premise on how to tie some of these real basic knots. So hope this helps. Hope to see you out on the water. We'll talk to you soon.